If you're a guy and you're addicted to porn, like, and you think, oh, I'm not hurting anybody, it's not true. You are. If you cannot do it for yourself, then do it for the person you love. If you're a single man and you're alone and you're like, well, it's just me and I don't have a partner, but what I'm telling you is, so was this ex-boyfriend. He was doing it while he was single, and guess what? Love came in his life and it just chewed up that love and spit it out. And I'm saying, if you ever want to have sustainable love, this right now, what you do today is sowing seed for your future, for your tomorrow. So if you think it's fine because I'm just alone and I'm not affecting anyone, that's not true. This is poisoning your soul.
I am here with the lovely Arica Angelo.
Thank you for having me, Luke.
We actually met in Thailand a couple months ago, and now here we are in LA.
It's nuts. We didn't even know each other in Los Angeles. We meet out in Chiang Mai, and we were supposed to shoot YouTubes in Chiang Mai, and we just never could. And so here we are doing it in Los Angeles, where we live.
And Arica is a dating and relationship expert.
Yes.
She has some really awesome videos on her channel, so I'll put a link below. Make sure to check out her channel. But in this video, we're going to talk about porn and porn addiction from the perspective of a female. And Arica was in a relationship where the guy got addicted to porn, and she was telling me about this when we were in Thailand, and it really gave me a perspective that I thought was really valuable and would be really valuable for my audience.
Yeah. So I'll just kind of go into the story of it, Luke. We met and everything was great. It was a great relationship. He lived further away from me, and so I ended up relocating my life to go live with him. And I felt this like, everything was wonderful. Like, we got along great. It was like, of course, this makes sense to just move everything for this guy. And then as soon as I got there, something, you know, us women are so intuitive. And so something inside, I was like, this doesn't feel right. This guy has just gone cold on me. I'm like, he's gone from like loving me and adoring me and thinking I'm the best thing since sliced bread. And now there's just nothing. And I felt that shut off immediately. And I was like, what is going on? What is going on? And so
right when you move in.
Right when I move in. And as a woman, I was terrified. I'm like, what did I just do? And I'm a very strong woman, so I'm like, well, I got to make it work. We've got to make this work. And so we kind of went on, and it started to unravel more and more and more and more, and the distance continued to grow. And it went from a guy who just adored me and couldn't keep his hands off of me to, if I touched him, he would just cringe. And I'm like, wow, what the hell is happening here? And so I, being the aggressive, strong person I am, I'm like, we're gonna talk about this. What is going on? I'm talking to your friends, what's happening? And so he starts sharing with me that he has issues with intimacy and this and that. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, it showed up in my other relationships, but things still just weren't adding up. I'm like, okay, then we can address that, we can heal that, we can work through that. Wasn't adding up. And I started getting very suspicious. You know, us women, like, if our intuition's right and the answers that you're giving us are not adding up, guess what we do? We start digging, because we're like, no, my intuition is always right. I'm gonna start digging. And so one day while he was off at work, I said, you know what? I'm gonna go digging through his computer. I had no idea what I was going to find. And I start digging through, and I go through file folder after file folder and folder within folder, and I'm just like ripping this thing apart. And all of a sudden there it is. And I see this blonde with tits out to here. I'm like, it's not even attractive. Like, it was just over the top. And I was like, oh, what is this? Now, mind you, I was shocked because this guy was pretty like self-righteous and, you know, kind of like, you know, by the book kind of guy. So I was just, and then I went through, and it was just image after image after image after image. And so I did what every loving girlfriend would do, and I took that picture and I blew it up as his desktop saver so that when he came home and I said, hey, go take a look at your computer. And he walked in and he went, oh my God. And I said, yeah, motherfucker. Oh my God. And so here we had been together for months. I had no idea. And I'm like, what is this? Like,
it was always a secret thing.
This secret thing. I'm like, why is this so hidden? And why have you never told me about it? In fact, when I've talked about things regarding a sexual nature, you've been actually quite judgmental towards me. But here you've been hiding your dirty secret all along while judging me? What is this? And so I think that is what shame does. Shame, you know, it not only pigeons you into a dark corner, but it also needs to do that to other people by judging them as well. It's like, you know, you see it so many times that people who are very like black and white about stuff and they judge it and then you realize that they got it too, you know?
Always, yeah.
And so I was just like, and so he just starts bawling, crying, and he says, this is an addiction that I've had for many years and nobody knows about it. No one.
Wow.
And I said, what is this? What's going on? And he said, if I get stressed out with work, if I get into a big fight with someone, like if I'm in a relationship, I run here and this is what I do. I'm like, so you're basically like stroking your cock to these women that you've never met. And he's like, and of course he's just more shameful as I say that. And I was livid. It wasn't even so much the porn. It was the secretiveness. I just felt so betrayed. I felt gutted. But what happened was it just didn't make sense to me. It's like, why isn't this person touching me? Why is this person 1 minute in love with me and all of a sudden just detached from me and repulsed by me? How does this happen? And I had never heard of someone being addicted to porn. I knew about porn. You know, in high school, guys would watch porn, we'd laugh at it, but I'd never heard of someone being full on addicted to it.
It's becoming a really big problem for lots of guys now. Yeah.
I heard one psychologist say that it is the new, it's a crack cocaine. It's as bad as heroin.
How it affects the brain. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just talk about going through a dark tunnel and you're just like, and it's not something that you can go and talk to a lot of people like, why are you and your boyfriend having problems? Oh, because he's addicted to masturbating to other women that he doesn't know. Like, it's not an easy thing to go and tell people. So it was like this dark thing that we were going through together. And I have to say, porn addiction is a wild beast because as strong as I was, I could not separate him from it. Like, it was going as far as like, and it was driving me crazy. I was going nuts. I'm like, not only can you not touch me, which is the woman that you love, but you're like fascinated with other women. Like, that's such a betrayal to a woman. When you're like, I have given you my heart and you're betraying me. It feels like a betrayal. It's like, you can say, oh, it's just an image, it's just this. But as a woman, when your man is going away in secret and expressing himself intimately through jacking off to somebody else, it cuts you, it cuts your soul. I was just devastated. I remember I had some friends who reached out to me and they would see my pictures on Facebook and they were like, get out of that relationship. My face was just sinking in. I was getting like, I was not hungry anymore and my bones were protruding, my clothes were fitting loose. I was a walking dead person. I had no lens for what this looked like. I had no outlet. And so it was just like, I was dying this slow death.
This porn addiction was destroying you.
It was destroying me. It was absolutely destroying me. And finally, I just, you know, I said, I can't do this. And why am I doing this to myself? And so I did the ultimate savage move, which I've told Luke about. But I said to him, I'm going back. I'm going home. I'm going to my mom and dad. I'm going to go move with them. I'm leaving you. But before I did that, I picked up the phone and I knew, it sounds like a bitch move, but I knew if I didn't do something this drastic, he would stay enslaved to this for the rest of his life. And he was too good of a person to stay living slaved by this. So I picked up the phone and called his very religious parents and said, I just want you to know that your son and I have been having huge problems and we can't seem to get them resolved, and I'm leaving him. But you should know that your son has a major porn addiction and that it has severed our relationship. And his parents said, thank you so much for telling us. He looked at me and he said, I cannot believe you did that. He was beside himself because these were the one people that like he did not want to know. And you know, I left him, and there's that pain of loss of now, that's shame hates to be exposed.
Yeah.
Shame hates light. It wants to stay in the dark. It just festers. It's like mold. It's like, just give me the darkness and I'm good.
Yeah.
But when I say it's like shining a light on it. When you shine a light on shame, it's like, you know,
can't hide. I
can't hide.
Yeah.
And so what I essentially did was set him up so that he could no longer hide.
Yeah.
And I have to say that this guy, he really became very dogmatic about overcoming his addiction to pornography, to the point where people at work would pass photos around of women and he would say, get that fucking shit out of my face. Get it out of my face. And they're like, what, man? It's just a naked girl. And he's like, no, there is an addiction behind that amongst men, and I do not want anything to, this thing has destroyed my life. Get it out of my face.
And it's lots of strength.
Tons of strength.
Yeah.
He would tell me this journey after we were broken up, and what he reminded me of was someone training to be a bodybuilder. Like, that's how much tenacity and focus and strength it required.
Yeah.
Discipline, immense discipline.
Porn addiction is no joke. Yeah, it's serious stuff.
It is serious. And so I watched him go through his journey, and I have to say that that guy, you know, he went through it for about a year of just overcoming it and finding himself, because, you know, you lose yourself in addiction. Addiction becomes more powerful than you. It takes control over you. And anytime something takes control over us, we feel helpless. We lose our sense of identity.
Yeah, especially sex addiction. It goes directly to our sense of identity.
Yes. Who am I? Who do I belong to? Who do I belong to myself? Like, you just lose yourself in it. And so he went through a full year of not only breaking the addiction, but like reclaiming himself back in that. And
that's super awesome. Lots of guys just stay addicted for years and years.
Well, not when your mom and dad know. But I have to say, a year after going through that, he was really, really desiring to get married. And, you know, I was not that person for him. And I think it was a year after he overcame this addiction, he got married like that. And his wife... It's
a happy ending.
Yeah, his wife is like sent from heaven. She's like an angel. She's beautiful. She's sexy. Like, she is everything he could have hoped for. And it was just amazing to go from that dark place with him in that journey, and then to see him on the other side in such a happy, loving relationship.
That's awesome.
Is
That's
almost
beautiful.
A miracle, you know?
And you kind of saved his life by telling his parents.
Yeah. And it was so weird, because I think this is a thing about shame and addiction too. It really physically started changing him. I would say your eyes are a different color now. They started...
His eyes started changing colors, and his just energy and physicality just got...
Totally changed.
Like a White Walker from Game of Thrones.
Yes,
like,
yes. To the point where when I went back to my parents, and I showed my mom pictures of us at New Year's Eve, and my mother looked at me and she was pissed. And I'm like, what happened? She was like, who is this guy? Who is this guy that you're hanging out with? Where is your boyfriend? And I was like, Mother, that is him. No, Arica, that is not him. And I said, oh, no, Mom.
It's that noticeable.
It was that noticeable.
Wow. And
I had a friend who kind of went through this same thing, and I just saw pictures of her significant other on Facebook, and I knew just looking at his pictures, I saw the same gray eyes, I saw the soulless face, the lifeless face, I saw the, I'm just here, like a zombie, I'm just here going through the motions, no life whatsoever. And I said to her, I didn't say, your partner has a porn addiction, I just said, he is doing something behind the scenes, and it's destroying him.
You could tell.
You could tell. And then it was about 3 or 4 or 5 months later, it came out that there was this problem with porn. And I was like, it was just all over him. It was all over his face. It just really, it's like when you see these drug addicts, someone on a meth addict, or someone who's just completely addicted to drugs, it's like it pulls their soul from them. And that's what I've seen with men who have a porn addiction. It's like they lose their soul. You can see it on their face. The life just flies out of their eyes. And I'm like, you can't tell me that this stuff is so great if it's stealing people's souls, if it's robbing their life from them, if it's destroying marriages and relationships and breaking homes. You can't tell me that it's wonderful.
I think it's an epidemic now.
Yeah.
Like, my mom's a therapist, and she says more and more couples are coming in where there's a porn addiction, there's all these problems, and especially when there's like kids involved, and it's becoming a huge issue. Porn just destroying people's relationships.
And the thing is,
you're fortunate to have gone through this earlier, and you and the boyfriend both came out healed and complete. That's really awesome.
I have to be transparent though, Luke. I think for me, it really did a number on me as a woman. I definitely had my own issues of needing to love myself more and not giving so much power to this person to have all of my love wrapped up in them. But I will say that being rejected by a man who once loved you and then is repulsed by you and can't touch you and can't look at you because he can only get off based on what's on a screen, it's like dying a new death every day. It's like giving a part of who you are. Every day that they reject you, it's like taking a piece of you every day. And I think it was 2 years after that, 2 or 3 years after that, I had gotten into another relationship, and we had gone through a breakup. And I talked to this ex-boyfriend, the guy who had the porn addiction, and I just cried. And I said, you told me that my breasts weren't big enough. You told me that my arms were too skinny. You said these words over me, and I cannot get them out of my mind. I cannot get them out of my DNA.
This is a year later?
This is years, like 2-3 years later. And I'm like, I cannot get them off of me. And he just said, Arica, I'm so sorry. He said, I'm so sorry. You know what they say, that hurt people hurt people. But it was like, and that's what shame does, is it's like, I need to hide, but I need to hurt the other people around me so that I'm not alone in my darkness. Like I feel so bad, but you're bad. And it becomes a very attacking. And so it took me years of being healed by having, another, thankfully now I'm in a loving relationship, and like I get poured love on me all the time. So it's healed that. But I just wanted you to know, like, if you're a guy and you're addicted to porn, like, and you think, oh, I'm not hurting anybody, it's not true. You are. If you cannot do it for yourself, then do it for the person you love. If you're a single man and you're alone and you're like, well, it's just me and I don't have a partner, but what I'm telling you is, so was this ex-boyfriend. He was doing it while he was single, and guess what? Love came in his life and it just chewed up that love and spit it out. And I'm saying, if you ever want to have sustainable love, this right now, what you do today is sowing seed for your future, for your tomorrow. So if you think it's fine because I'm just alone and I'm not affecting anyone, that's not true. This is poisoning your soul, and it's creating a root system inside of you, so that when you get into that relationship and you want to produce good fruit, so to speak, if you're a tree and you want to produce good fruit, you're only going to produce poison, because that's what it does, is it poisons you to the core. And so I just want to encourage you, if you've thought about coming out of addiction, you're like, I don't want to see a woman like you get hurt by a guy like me. Then I say, if you can't do it for yourself, then start with doing it for her or for your potential love. But whatever you do, stop. Go on that journey, Luke,
I've done it. Yeah,
you've done it.
Went to therapy and
you help.
Hard work.
It's hard work, but you help men get out of this.
Yeah, it's infinitely worth it.
It's totally worth it. I'd rather go through a year's worth of work and get my life back than be a slave or a bitch to some addiction.
Yeah.
Then give me the year of brutal work, But if I get my life,
5 years of real worth, it'd be worth it.
yeah. If I get my life back, and if I'm in control of me,
yeah, there's no better. Yeah,
there's no better. I get my power back.
Yeah.
But as long as you're addicted to this, you have to face the fact that you are no longer in charge of you, that you are relenting your power to someone else. Do you want to do that? And if not, I highly encourage you. Someone like Luke, I mean, this is so vulnerable for a guy who's a single man to create a whole YouTube channel about porn addiction. This is a labor of love. So if you have someone who is, that you need help, you need someone to talk to, this guy is pouring out his life to help men like you come out of this. Don't be stupid. Take advantage of this. Take advantage of his good heart that wants to help you, and put him to work for you. And I told Luke, I'm like, and you don't charge enough, so he's not even charging you enough. He should be charging you a lot more money, because this is hard work.
Thank you, Arica. Thank you, Arica. Yeah, and everything you just said was really, really beautiful and powerful. Yeah, so yeah, that was, I could tell it was straight from the heart. And lots of guys are going to hear that, and that's going to really transform. This video is going to create lots of positive ripples for lots of men and women.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for being on the channel. Thanks for saying everything that you just said.
Totally. And also, one last thing I do want to say. I think the thing about shame is shame tells you that you're worthless and that you're nothing. And I want to say to you, baby doll, that in your shame and in your darkness, and when you're in your room and the addiction is taking over you, please know that in that very moment that you are loved. That even when you feel unlovable and you feel horrible and you feel wretched, that love is always greater than your addiction, and that love will never abandon you. And so even in the moment, in the middle of you jacking off to some porn, that in that moment that you are still loved.
Beautiful. Yeah, I really liked what you said. Even though that boyfriend had a porn addiction, the biggest thing was him not opening up about it, and the biggest thing was him like hiding it.
It was the hiding.
And if he was open about it and it was working on it, that would have been so much of a difference.
Total game changer.
Yeah. That just kills trust.
Yeah.
Which is a necessary foundation for relationships.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, this video came out really awesome. Yeah,
wow.
I'm very happy. Yeah.
Me too.
For anyone who would like to find you, I'll put a link to your channel down below. Is there anything else you like? Do you have a website that you'd like me to shout out or anything? Yeah, you can. Mainly, I would love for you to come to my YouTube channel, and you can always go to my website. It's Arica, A-R-I-C-A, Angelo.com. Definitely check her out. Lots of really excellent wisdom and advice and videos. Excellent coaching for the guys who need it. Just talking to her, it's helped me feel more comfortable with women I feel. So definitely check her out. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, comment your thoughts below, and we wish you an excellent day. Thank you, Luke. Peace. Bye-bye.